action.
I've been coming to this tournament for 10 years. Awesome. So I'm excited that we finally have a Filipino here again.
I got a selfie with her, and also this is my first ever tennis tournament ever. So I'm excited, this is special.
Filipina tennis star Alex Eala takes center stage at the BNP Paribas Tennis Paradise in Indian Wells. And of course, Filipino fans turn out in full force to cheer.
Hey everyone, we are trying to hit 1,000 subscribers and we really need your help. If you are new here, hit that subscribe button as we get started. Filipino fans made their way to catch the Pinay tennis phenom in action. I've been coming to this tournament for 10 years. I'm excited that we finally have a Filipino here. I got a selfie with her, and also this is my first ever tennis-like tournament ever. So, I'm excited. It's special. Filipino tennis star Alex Eala takes center stage at the BNP Paribas Tennis Paradise in Indian Wells, and of course Filipino fans turn out in full force to cheer her on. Something remarkable is happening ahead of the Stuttgart Open, and the tennis world is taking notice. Markus Gunthart, the tournament director of the Porsche Tennis Grand Prix in Stuttgart, has made a decision that is sending shockwaves through the WTA Tour. Alex Eala, the young Filipino tennis sensation who has been turning the sport upside down, will not be entering the Stuttgart Open through qualifiers. Gunthart has placed her directly into the main draw, and once you understand everything that has been building around this player, you will understand exactly why this decision was not made overnight. It was made because the evidence had become too overwhelming to ignore. Let's talk about what actually goes on in the mind of a tournament director when they make a call like this. Gunthart has been running the Porsche Tennis Grand Prix for years. He understands the business of tennis as well as anyone. He knows that Stuttgart is already one of the crown jewels of the WTA calendar. A clay court event with history, prestige, and a deeply loyal fan base. He does not need to chase headlines. But even a tournament with all of that behind it can feel the difference between a year where the world is watching and a year where it simply moves on. And Gunthart has been watching what happens when Alex Eala shows up somewhere. What he has seen has changed his entire calculation. Because here is the reality Gunthart is sitting with. Every tournament director who has embraced Eala fully, who has put her on the biggest court and given her the main draw placement she deserves, has walked away with results they had never seen before in the history of their event. That is not speculation. That is a documented pattern. And Gunthart is far too experienced to look at that pattern and do nothing. Think about what happened at Indian Wells. The 2026 tournament will be talked about for years, not because of who won or lost, but because of what one player did to the entire ecosystem of that event. The moment Eala's first round match was confirmed, fans flooded the ticketing platform with demands so extreme that the system buckled under the pressure. Prices skyrocketed to levels nobody in the history of that tournament had ever seen. And when it was all tallied up, a single first-round match had generated $5 million in ticket sales. Not a final, not a semifinal, a first-round match. The phrase that emerged from that moment, the Eala effect, is now spoken in every tournament office on the tour. Gunthart has heard it. He knows exactly what it means. But the Indian Wells story goes deeper than just the money. What it revealed was that Eala is not just drawing tennis fans. She is drawing people who had never considered going to a tennis match before. People from all corners of the globe with a singular purpose, to be in that stadium, to feel that energy, to be part of something historic. When a sporting event starts pulling in that kind of audience, it is no longer just a tennis tournament. It becomes a cultural moment. And Stuttgart now has the opportunity to be exactly that. I'm very grateful for all the support that's been coming my way, and it's really heartwarming to see that they really they make the effort and they take the time to come out and to support, and music makes the experience for the player. Then there is what happened in Austria. When Eala was drawn to face Julia Grabher at the ladies' LINZ Open, 90% of the tickets were purchased not by Austrian fans coming to support their home player, but by Eala supporters who had coordinated across borders to flood that stadium. Grabher, playing on her own soil, walked onto that court as the away player. Tournament director Sandra Reichel understood immediately what she had on her hands. She committed publicly to placing Eala on the biggest court available and confirmed she would personally welcome her to the tournament, stating that the atmosphere would be unlike anything the ladies' LINZ Open had witnessed in its 35 years of history. Gunthard has read every word of that story, and he has asked himself what that means for Stuttgart, a tournament that already has the infrastructure and prestige to amplify everything Eala brings. And it's great always to welcome new players and newcomers and players who will own the future, I would say. So, it's great, yeah, to welcome Alexandra here in LINZ in this special year, and it's also our first time. Yes. And then there is Miami. James Blake did not wait for the wave to reach him. He placed Eala on center court and spoke openly about what her presence would mean for the event. He noted that her appeal had transcended the traditional tennis audience, bringing in fans from across Asia, Europe, and North America who were not regular tennis followers. That is the kind of audience expansion no marketing budget can manufacture. It only comes from a player. Blake predicted Miami would break revenue records because of her. Gunthard has taken careful note of every word Blake said. Now, here's what makes Gunthard's decision even more layered. Stuttgart is a clay court tournament, a surface that demands physical freshness, tactical sharpness, and full mental preparation. Being forced through qualifiers can strip a player of exactly those things before the main draw even begins. By placing Eala directly into the draw, Gunthard is not just making a commercial decision, he is making a sporting one. He wants Eala on the clay at her absolute best from round one because he has seen what she is capable of when those conditions are in place, and he wants Stuttgart to be the stage where that version of Eala performs. There is also the lesson from what happened when tournaments did not embrace Eala fully. At the Australian Open, she was placed on smaller courts despite the enormous demand from her fan base. The result was chaos. Hundreds of thousands of fans standing in endless queues, many never making it inside. Rather than diminishing her appeal, that failure only strengthened it. Her supporters became more galvanized, and the tournaments that had made smarter decisions reaped the rewards, while the Australian Open's misjudgment became a cautionary tale across the sport. Gunthard has no intention of letting Stuttgart become another cautionary tale. And beyond the crowds and the commercial logic, there is the matter of what the players themselves are saying. Jessica Pegula, one of the most experienced competitors on the WTA Tour, faced Eala at the Miami Open and described the atmosphere as something she had never encountered in her entire career. The fans were not spectators, they were participants. Every point, every rally drew a reaction that Pegula described as insane. A level of passion that no other player on the tour was generating, whether it was the Australian Open, Dubai, or Miami. When a player of Pegula's standing says she had never felt anything like that before, the entire tour takes notice. And Novak Djokovic, a man whose words carry the full weight of the sport, called Eala the greatest tennis player the Philippines has ever produced. That is not a throwaway compliment. That is a statement from someone who understands greatness at its deepest level. Gunthard has heard all of this. He has studied the crowds, read the figures, and watched tournament after tournament be transformed by the decision to put Eala exactly where she belongs. Placing her in qualifying would have been an act of willful blindness. It would have been Stuttgart looking at $5 million in first-round ticket revenue at Indian Wells and making their fans wait. It would have been looking at what Reichel did in LINZ and what Blake did in Miami and choosing to do the opposite. The evidence of the entire 2026 season makes that choice completely indefensible. Instead, Gunthard has recognized that having Alex Eala in the main draw is not just good for her career, it is transformative for the event itself. The crowds coming through Stuttgart's gates will include people who have never watched a WTA match before. The atmosphere on the days she plays will be something the Porsche Tennis Grand Prix has not seen before. And all of it starts with this one decision. The decision to look at Alex Eala and say, "You are not a qualifier. You are a main draw player. You are someone the world comes to watch." The Eala effect has arrived in Stuttgart, and under Marcus Gunthard's watch, the tournament is ready for every single second of it. What do you think about Gunthard's decision to place Eala directly in the Stuttgart main draw? Is this purely a business move, or do the sporting reasons carry equal weight? Could Stuttgart become the next Indian Wells moment? And with director after director making this same call, is the WTA itself falling behind in recognizing what Eala means for the future of women's tennis? Drop everything in the comments because this conversation is only getting bigger.